Welcome to the Bookroom Duo, where we explore a variety of books, from captivating narratives to insightful guides. Join us for discussions and summaries, sharing our thoughts and takeaways. Let's get reading. Today, we're going on a deep dive into Power Up Your Mind, Learn Faster, Work Smarter by Bill Lucas. It's not just a typical self-help book. It's more like a guide to really understanding how your mind works and using that knowledge to learn more effectively.
What struck me about Lucas's approach is how it goes beyond just tips and tricks. He delves into the science of learning, exploring fascinating concepts like the three brains model.
Well, three brains, that sounds intriguing. What's the idea behind that?
Well, it suggests our brains have evolved in layers. At the core, we have the reptilian brain responsible for our primal instincts and survival responses. Then comes the mammalian brain governing emotions and memory. Finally, we have the neocortex, our learning brain, which handles complex thought and decision-making.
So it's like we're carrying around a tiny dinosaur, a cuddly puppy, and a supercomputer all at once.
Exactly, and it's fascinating to consider how these different brains might be at play in our daily lives. Imagine you're about to give a presentation. Your heart's racing, palms are sweaty. That's your reptilian brain kicking in, triggering a fight or flight response.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. But how do we get the learning brain to take charge in those moments?
That's where understanding Lucas's ready, go, steady learning model comes in. The first stage, ready, emphasizes the importance of our emotional state. Lucas argues that stress can literally hijack the learning process.
So before we even crack open a book or start a new course, we need to take a moment to check in with ourselves emotionally. I love that he includes a mood meter activity to help with this.
Right. It's about being mindful of our emotional state and recognizing when we might need to take a break, go for a walk, or do something to calm our nerves before diving into something new.
And speaking of being ready, Lucas also challenges the traditional notion of intelligence, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He introduces Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which suggests we all possess 8 different types of intelligence, not just the logical mathematical kind often measured by IQ tests. We also have linguistic, visual, spatial, bodily, kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, and naturalistic intelligences.
So someone might struggle with math but be incredibly gifted musically or have an exceptional ability to understand and connect with others.
Precisely. It's a reminder that we all excel in different ways, and it's important to recognize and nurture those strengths. Lucas also emphasizes the importance of continuing to learn throughout life, not just for our careers, but also for our health and well-being.
Weight learning can actually make us healthier? How so?
Research suggests that engaging in mentally stimulating activities like learning new skills or languages can help to maintain cognitive function and even delay the onset of age-related decline.
Wow, that's incredible. Learning keeps our minds sharp and may even contribute to a longer, healthier life. All right, now I'm really curious about this ready, go, steady model. We've touched on ready, but what does go entail?
Go is all about understanding how you learn best. Lucas dives into the concept of learning styles, highlighting 3 key aspects: the environment you thrive in, how you prefer to take in information, visually, auditorily, or kinesthetically, and how you process that information.
I've always been fascinated by learning styles. Why does one person love lectures while another needs hands-on experience to truly grasp a concept? And how can understanding our individual styles help us become more effective learners?
That's a great question. Lucas delves into the nuances of each style, offering practical tips for creating learning experiences that are tailored to your strength. For example, visual learners might benefit from using mind maps and colorful diagrams, while auditory learners might prefer listening to podcasts or having discussions. Kinesthetic learners, on the other hand, learn best by doing experimenting and engaging all of their senses.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
We each have our own learning superpowers that we can harness.
Exactly. It's about recognizing your unique learning preferences and then creating a learning environment that plays to your strengths. But even with the right mindset and the perfect learning environment, we still need to make sure that knowledge actually sticks right. That's where steady comes in.
Tell me more about this steady stage. What are some of the key takeaways?
Lucas focuses on the importance of reflection and responsiveness. He argues that simply absorbing information isn't enough. We need to actively process what we've learned, make connections, and ultimately change our behavior based on those insights.
So it's about turning knowledge into action.
Precisely. And to guide us on this journey, Lucas introduces the 5 R's of competent learning: resourcefulness, remembering resilience, reflectiveness, and responsiveness. These are the essential skills that empower us to become true lifelong learners.
Those 5 R's sound like a powerful framework for anyone who wants to make learning a habit, not just a one-time event.
Absolutely. And they tie in beautifully with some of the key concepts you've highlighted in your own notes, like the importance of embracing challenges and being open to new experiences. It's not just about passively absorbing information. It's about actively engaging with the world and seeking out opportunities to learn and grow.
I love that idea. It's like the more
Right.
curious and open-minded we are, the more potential learning experiences we encounter in our everyday lives.
Exactly. And that leads us to the heart of Lucas's message, that learning is not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about transforming ourselves and our lives. It's about becoming more adaptable, resilient, and ultimately more fulfilled individuals. And to illustrate that point, Lucas shares this anecdote about blue tits and robins that really resonated with me.
Oh, I love a good anecdote. Tell me more.
Blue tits, as you may know, are quite adaptable. They were observed learning to peck open milk bottle tops to access the cream. Robins, on the other hand, being more territorial, stuck to their usual feeding grounds and missed out on this opportunity. It's a fascinating illustration of how embracing new approaches and observing others can lead to unexpected benefits.
That's a great analogy for how we approach learning. Sometimes we need to shake things up, step outside our comfort zones, and be willing to learn from those around us, even if they're doing things differently. It reminds me of that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Precisely. And the beauty of Lucas's book is that he doesn't just present these ideas, he offers practical tools to implement them. One thing that resonated with me, and I see you've highlighted in your notes as well, is his emphasis on understanding our fundamental drives when it comes to learning. He draws on John Grant's work, which outlines 16 basic human drives.
So it's not just about what we learn, but also why we're motivated to learn in the first place.
Exactly. Are you driven by a thirst for knowledge, a desire to connect with others, a need to achieve mastery in a certain field? Recognizing these underlying motivations can make the learning process more enjoyable and sustainable.
It makes sense. If you're forcing yourself to learn something you're not truly interested in, it's going to be a lot harder to stick with it.
Yeah.
But if you're intrinsically motivated, if you're genuinely curious and engaged, the learning becomes almost effortless.
Absolutely. And once you understand what drives you, you can be more intentional about choosing learning experiences that align with those motivations. It might mean seeking out mentors, joining a study group, or simply carving out time for personal exploration. Lucas also stresses the importance of creating the right learning environment. He even delves into how physical space can impact our ability to learn effectively.
It's so true. I know I can't focus if my workspace is cluttered or if there's a lot of noise around me. I need a calm and organized environment to really get into that learning zone.
Yeah.
What are some of the environmental factors that Lucas highlights?
He mentions lighting noise levels, seating arrangements, and even temperature. All these things can either enhance or hinder our ability to focus and absorb information. It's about being mindful of our surroundings and making adjustments as needed to optimize our learning experience.
So it's not just about finding the right materials or techniques, it's also about creating a space that supports our learning process.
Huh.
I love that he takes a holistic approach.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond the physical space. Lucas also talks about the social environment. Some people thrive in collaborative settings where they can bounce ideas off others, while others prefer to learn independently.
It's funny because we were just talking about the importance of learning from others, and now we're acknowledging that some people learn best on their own. It seems like there's a balance to strike between collaboration and independent study.
I agree. And I think it comes back to understanding your individual learning style and preferences. There's no right or wrong way to learn as long as you're engaging with the material in a way that feels authentic and effective for you. But even when we're learning independently, Lucas emphasizes the importance of seeking out diverse perspectives.
So even if we're not working directly with others, we should still be exposed to a variety of viewpoints and ideas. Why is that so important?
Because it challenges our assumptions, broadens our understanding, and helps us see the world through different lenses. Lucas even suggests a specific technique for fostering this kind of collaborative learning, the action learning set.
What is an action learning set? Haven't heard of that before.
It's basically a group of people who come together to tackle real-world problems and learn from each other's experiences. It's a very hands-on, collaborative approach that encourages participants to apply what they're learning in a practical setting.
That sounds fascinating, and it really highlights the idea that learning isn't just a solitary pursuit confined to classrooms or textbooks. It's a dynamic process that can happen anywhere, anytime, and often it's most effective when we're engaging with others who share our passion for growth.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key aspect of Lucas's approach, The importance of being resourceful, both in finding learning opportunities and in overcoming the inevitable challenges that arise.
Resourcefulness, yes. It's like being a detective for your own development.
Hmm.
We need to be proactive in seeking out the information, experiences, and connections that will help us achieve our learning goals.
Precisely. And it requires a certain level of resilience, doesn't it? Because, let's face it, learning isn't always easy. We're going to encounter obstacles, setbacks, and moments of frustration.
Definitely. There are times when I want to throw the book across the room and say, I give up. But that's when resilience comes in. It's
Yeah.
that ability to bounce back from challenges, to learn from our mistakes, and keep moving forward.
And Lucas reminds us that those setbacks are often our greatest teachers. He encourages us to see difficulties not as failures, but as opportunities for growth and deeper understanding.
It's like that famous quote from Thomas Edison. I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. It's all about reframing our perspective and seeing challenges as stepping stones on the path to mastery.
Exactly. And speaking of mastery, we've covered being ready and go, but what about that crucial steady stage where we solidify our learning and make it stick? Lucas offers some great tips for enhancing our memory, like mind mapping and place association, but he also emphasizes the importance of reflection.
Reflection, yes.
Hmm.
It's so easy to just consume information and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But taking the time to pause, process, and integrate what we've learned is crucial for long-term retention and application. What are some of Lucas's suggestions for making reflection a regular part of our learning process?
He talks about keeping a learning journal where you can jot down key insights, questions, and connections you've made. He also suggests a technique called the after-action review.
The after-action review. That sounds intriguing. What's involved in that?
It's a structured process where you analyze a learning experience, asking yourself what went well, what could have been better, and what lessons you can take away. It's a fantastic way to turn those aha moments into lasting change.
It sounds like a powerful tool for turning reflection into action.
Yeah.
I can see how that would help us not only remember what we've learned, but also apply it in meaningful ways. It's about moving beyond passive consumption and becoming active creators of our own knowledge.
Exactly. And that ties back to the final R, responsiveness. Being able to adapt our behavior based on what we've learned. It's not just about acquiring information. It's about using that information to make more informed decisions and take more effective actions.
It's like a continuous feedback loop. Learn, reflect, adjust, repeat.
Mm.
It's a reminder that learning is a lifelong journey, not a destination.
And I think that's one of the most important takeaways from Lucas's book. It's not just about becoming more efficient or productive at work. It's about cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and growth, embracing curiosity, and recognizing that there's always more to discover.
I love that idea. It's about becoming lifelong learners, not just for the sake of our careers, but for the sheer joy of expanding our minds and enriching our lives. But Lucas also acknowledges that it's not always easy to prioritize learning, especially in today's fast-paced world where we're constantly bombarded with demands and distractions.
He does. And he offers some practical advice for integrating learning into our busy lives. He talks about the importance of setting boundaries, saying no to things that drain our energy, and making time for activities that nourish our souls.
It's about finding that balance between pushing ourselves to grow and taking care of our well-being, recognizing that we can't pour from an empty cup.
He uses a powerful analogy to illustrate this point. He talks about juggling 5 balls: work, family, health, friends, and spirit. He points out that work is like a rubber ball. If you drop it, it'll bounce back. But the other 4 balls are made of glass. If you drop one of those, it can shatter and never be the same.
That's such a vivid image.
Yeah.
It really drives home the importance of prioritizing those essential aspects of our lives,
Yeah.
the things that truly matter in the long run. It's about being intentional with our time and energy, making sure we're investing in the things that will bring us lasting fulfillment, not just temporary success.
Exactly. And Lucas goes beyond just acknowledging the importance of work-life balance. He offers concrete strategies for managing stress and creating a more fulfilling life, both personally and professionally. He even suggests creating a personal mission statement for our lives outside of work.
That's a great idea, a mission statement for life.
Hmm.
It's like asking ourselves, what are our core values? What brings us joy? What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind?
And by aligning our actions with those values, we can create a life that feels more authentic and meaningful. It's about taking ownership of our journey and using the power of our minds to shape our own destinies.
It's inspiring to think about how much potential we have to transform ourselves and our lives through learning. It's not just about acquiring information. It's about using that information to create something new, something better, something that aligns with our deepest aspirations.
And that's the beauty of learning. It's a lifelong adventure with endless possibilities. It's about constantly evolving, growing, and becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring Lucas's Ready, Go, Steady model, delving into the fascinating world of learning styles and multiple intelligences, and even touching on the importance of work-life balance and personal fulfillment. But I think the most important takeaway is that learning is not just something we do. It's who we are.
It's an integral part of what makes us human. It's our capacity for curiosity, growth, and transformation that sets us apart and allows us to create incredible things.
Absolutely. And on that note, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question to ponder. If you could choose one intelligence from Gardner's list to develop further, which would it be and why? What area of your life would you like to enhance? What new skills or knowledge would you like to acquire? What kind of person do you want to become?
It's a great question to reflect on. There are no right or wrong answers. It's all about what resonates with you and what aligns with your personal mission.
That's all for this episode of The Bookworm Duo. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And don't forget to leave a review and share this episode with a friend.